What is going on, everybody? This is my second ATP video. This is about to be an update about how far I came through the program, all right? So the first video, the first video was just my journey on how I got to ATP, what I did, just a little bit about my background before I dive into this series of flying. Now, this second video is all about instrument rating, all right? Your boy is an instrument rated private pilot now as of Tuesday, October 3rd, 2023. So it was a crazy ride. ATP, they do an amazing job getting you done as fast as possible. I started the program on July 10th and I just did my Checkride on October 3rd. And I waited a month for my Checkride. So I really did all the instrument requirements in 2 months, which is insane. Now, the DPE availability is completely out of ATP's hands. So if you're thinking about, hey, is the program outlined exactly how they tell you on the website, 5 months credit private, 7 months 0 to hero? No, it is not. Now, for certain reasons though, you gotta think about weather and you have to think about DPE availability. Those are the two biggest things. And if you're not at a maintenance location, you have to worry about the plane availability, because you might be at a location, you might have 4 or 5 planes, but when it needs 100 hour, it might have to fly 2 hours to a maintenance location, sit for a couple of days before you get it back in your fleet. And then you might go down to 3 planes and you may have 40 students, 50 students, and then you're kind of out of luck for a couple of days, but you can't get on the schedule. Now my location's a little bit different. At Centennial, Colorado, we are the maintenance location for 3 locations up here in the Denver area, and they all come to Centennial to get their planes done. Usually at my location, we have about 14 planes. I think we have 4 Seminoles that are being used. So yeah, just take that in, that your program is not gonna be 5 months. It took me 3 months just to get through instrument, which is perfectly okay. If you look at the big picture, you're gonna get all your ratings in less than a year or in a year. So don't think about the outline too hard. Really quick before I dive deep, I want to appreciate everybody who subscribed to my channel. I started this little series with only 7 subscribers on my account. Now I have over 300 subscribers. I have like 7,000 views on that last video I did, hundreds of comments. I got plenty of DMs, plenty of emails from you guys. I've tried to respond to all of them. If you go look at the last video, I was typing paragraphs, dude. Like I wasn't even playing around. But yeah, I appreciate everyone who, tuned into the channel and was been waiting on this next video. I know I went ghost, but I told myself that I wouldn't, drop videos every week. I needed to focus on the program, and I'm just going to do the milestones. Like I just passed my instrument check ride, so I'm doing this video. Next one will be my commercial check ride, or I might do it after the crew phase in the program. I'll explain that later, what crew actually is. All right, now second thing I want to touch on that's not to do with ATP is I really want to shout out the Pro Pilot Playbook podcast. They are great gentlemen. There are 2 corporate pilots that invited me on their podcast after I posted my video, and they gave me the opportunity to say my story on their podcast and just give a quick rundown of what ATP is and what's the program like thus far. It was a huge opportunity. Being on their podcast to me was like being on TV. So it was crazy. I used to watch that podcast when I was working on the line 2 years ago. And so to actually be on it was insane. So please go check out their podcast. Like I said, they're really great guys. They have hundreds of episodes about every topic you could think of, to the corporate life, to the airline life, to me as a private pilot. And they just had a fighter pilot on there. They talk about side hustles. They even had a mechanic on there. So if you just want to get general knowledge about what's going on in the industry or how to get done with your training as fast as possible, go check out the podcast. They also have a website, and it is 100% worth it. I thought about not doing it for a while. I'll be honest. I'll be transparent. But when I actually bought the course, I was like, whoa, this is some good stuff. They have videos and it's them talking to you one-on-one. They kind of feel like you're having a real conversation with them, but they're giving you gems, like golden information, like networking, like how to get into a jet as fast as possible. They tell you how to talk to these corporate pilots, how to go to FBOs and speak to the person at the counter to get what you want. They give you those things that kind of are not spoken about. It's kind of kept as a secret in corporate aviation, and they're giving it to you. And they also have a list of Part 91 and 135 operators in there they have the numbers and the location of that aircraft. Some of them are a little bit off because the location that they registered the plane might not be the location of the aircraft, or the number might be of the agent that does their legal work, but the information is there. So I say get it. I say get it. If you really want to, launch your career ahead of you, it could save you maybe 5 years in the game. They tell you exactly what to do, like exactly what to do. So please, if you have the time, if you have the money, I believe it's $40 a month. Just go check out the website. If you don't like it, it's bi-monthly. You can cancel subscription for the next month. But I'm telling you, it's a gold mine. And I'm not lying to you. I promise, I never thought I would be doing, shout outs, but I'm shouting them out. It's a great tool. So now let's get into the flying part of ATP. So like I said, I started the program on July 10th. The first 2 weeks of the program are called ATP Elevates. You're going to be covering all the basics about instrument flying, from approaches to weather to emergencies to unusual attitudes, everything under the sun within it's 15 days of ground school. Now, I didn't fly during this period just because my instructor wanted me to focus on this, and we would have plenty of time to fly. There's no rush. Now, your instructor just may want you to fly during this time, which is amazing to do because, you're doing both at the same time. But my experience, like I said, I didn't fly for the first 15 days. After I finished that, you finish on a Monday. The next day, Tuesday, I came in and I did the simulators. Now, since I'm credit private, I had to do 4 hours in the sim and 2 hours in the sky. Now, those 4 hours are split into 2 days. So that Tuesday and that Wednesday were sims, and it's just takeoff and landings and private pilot maneuvers. Then on Thursday, I did an actual 2-hour flight of just straight takeoff and landings over and over and over again. And once I did that, then I went into instrument. Now, from your start date, they expect you to have done in 21 days, they expect you to do your instrument written and your CFII written, and basically the same time span. They want you to take it in the same day, actually. It's literally the same test, so don't be scared. If you use Shepherd's Air, you'll be just fine. I only used the instrument written airplane study material, and I passed both the tests. Passed the IRA with a 87, and I passed the FII with a 98. So I scored higher on the one that I guess is supposed to be harder. So don't be scared about that. Now, after I did my written exams, that's when I got into the simulators of instrument and the actual flying of instrument. So you do 15 hours in the sim, and then you do 14 hours in the actual plane. Now in the simulator, you're just gonna be cranking out approaches, holds, straight and levels, back to back to back for about 2 hours or an hour and a half, like pretty much every single day. There's been multiple days where I had a sim in the morning and I flew in the evening, or vice versa, and you're just crammed the whole day, which is exactly what I asked for. That's exactly what I wanted. And each flight that you will do in instrument is going to be a cross-country flight. It's 60 nautical miles or greater. You might stop along a couple airports and do an instrument approach, go miss, and then continue your route. Up here in the Denver area, we have what's called the triangle, where you basically do a triangle of approaches and then you come back to your airport. It's like one flight, I did 6 instrument approaches in one flight, which is crazy. But like I said, that's exactly what I wanted in my flight training. All right, so once I finish this phase, the instrument phase is kind of into 3 phases. Like I said, it's the ground school, then it's this phase where it's the basics of, you get the sim time, and then you do the actual. And then at the end of the second part, they have an instrument progress eval. Now this eval is pass or fail, so don't go through the program, just skipping along thinking that you're gonna just do your check ride because you know your stuff. No, ATP wants to make sure halfway through that you are progressing at the rate that they want you to be successful in the program. And if you're not, like I said, you will fail it, and they'll put you in more sim time, and they might give you an extra flight if you need it, and then you'll go up again. And if you fail it again, you might be on the verge of getting kicked out the program. They take that very, very seriously. I've known multiple people in the program that have gotten kicked out. So it's not, rare. It's possible that you could get kicked out within failing the eval twice, or they might give you a third try, but that's if they see you that you're really trying and that you really want it. Yeah, take the program serious. Now, after you pass that eval, which hopefully everyone does, then you will go into Checkride prep. Now, during Checkride prep is where you do your long cross countries and you do what's called the instrument scenario simulator sessions. Now, the cross countries that they have you do, of course, you do the 250 nautical mile one that's required to get your instrument rating, but then you also do your 300 nautical mile cross country for commercial. Now, the way they do that is you take off, you go to another airport, you fly. Mine, I went out to Rapid City. You land in Rapid City, you go, you land, you do whatever, you fill up. You go to another airport, close out your VFR flight plan, which you had your 3 different airports, and then you take off and then you go simulated instrument back. So you're knocking out 2 birds with 1 stone, which is amazing. And that's how ATP gets efficient throughout the program, because they knock out things like the 300 nautical mile early on rather than waiting until you're in commercial and then you have to cram it into that phase. So now onto the instrument scenario simulator sessions. Now during this is my favorite part of instrument. They'll have you go up in the sim and they'll throw different emergencies at you while you're in IMC and while you're looking at your IFR flight plan. You're trying to do this, you're trying to divert on you're doing a whole bunch, you're doing a lot. I'll tell you, they'll be like, okay, your engine failed, you're just at the final approach fix, but you're experiencing like really engine roughness, but there's this airport right here. Are you going to continue, or are you going to divert to this one because of VFR, or what are you going to do? You just took up your 20 nautical miles away from your departure airport and you lost your comms. What are you going to do? Certain things like that. Or they'll have you take off from this airport and you land, but it's untowered. How are you going to close your flight plan? They'll do stuff like that. Or how are you going to take off at an untowered airport in instrument conditions? What are you going to do? So that, like I said, that was my favorite part of instrument, and that's where I think I learned the most. And because when you actually get into the plane, you're like, oh, this is easy since I just got all that thrown at me. Alrighty, so after you do all that good stuff, now you have your mocks. So now your mock is not pass or fail. They just expect you to be on top of your game when your mock does come, because if you don't do good in your mock, you just won't get endorsed, and then now it's on you because you can't take your check ride. So be ready for your mock. I did pretty good on my mock. I passed my mock, perfectly fine. And your mock is going to be harder than your check ride. So if you can pass that, you'll do just fine, because the lead instructor during your mock is going to be asking you the most specific questions that a DP probably won't ask you. So after your mock, then you get endorsed. Now is when the wait happens. Like, I waited a month for my check ride, which was way too long, but it was still fairly quick. It took me 3 months overall to get through my instrument phase. But like I said, I waited a month, and now during that time, you can't fly unless you want to pay out of pocket, or not necessarily out of pocket, but they will charge your account outside of what the program actually costs. So you can either do that to stay proficient, or you can do what I did. I used the ATD. Now, the ATD is exactly like the airplane. You can simulate crosswinds, turbulence, traffic, stuff on the runway like fires, the taxi, like the airport on itself is exactly like the airport that you're flying at. So it's pretty accurate. So I use that basically every night. They don't charge you. The sim is done being booked around 8 p.m. at my location. So I went around like 9, 10 at night and just cranked out approaches, holds, everything. Pretty much every other night until the day of my check ride, I was doing that. So once my check ride came, I didn't feel rusty at all. I was comfortable with running my checklist, my procedures, and shooting approaches. So I recommend you do that if you are in the instrument phase at ATP, or you plan on going to ATP. Use the sim. All right, so after you pass your instrument check ride, that's when you go into crew. Now, crew is basically you and another instrument rated private pilot. You guys basically reposition ATP's planes all across the country. That's what it is. They're using you to reposition the planes across the country. It's like a fair exchange. You need your hours billed. They need their planes to be moved. So you're going all over. I'm in Colorado. I may end up in Florida. I may be in California. I may be up in New Jersey. I have no idea where I might go. I haven't gone on crew yet. But that's what crew is. It's for 35 hours, and it's basically safety, pilot time, pilot monitoring, and pilot flying. Once you finish that, it's allotted for 17 days. You might go over, you might do it less, you might do it in 5 days, and then you'll go straight into commercial. Now, commercial is only 25 days. It's very short. It's very short. Now, once you pass your commercial check ride, then you go into CFI. Now CFI, it's another ground school portion of 16 days, and then you go off to CFI Academy, which is 14 days, which honestly is like what I've been hearing. It's been way more than that. People have been there for 2 months, and that's just what's happening in the industry right now. The DPEs, there's a shortage of it, and ATP can't really control that. They're doing the best that they can, but it's only so much you can do with, my DP said there's only 924 DPEs in the country. So you go to CFI. Once you come back from CFI Academy, you finish out the rest of the program in the multi-engine aircraft. So you do your commercial multi when you come back, you do your MEI, and you do your CFII, all in the multi-engine, and then you finish the program. So that's the overview of the whole program. And like I said, I just passed my instrument check ride, so I'm feeling good, but I still have a long way to go. So yeah, it's still a grind, but just a quick overview on what my timeline has been like. I started on July 10th, did the program, finished all my instrument requirements within 2 months, waited about 20 some days, I'll just call it a month, until I took my check ride, which I did that on the 2nd. I had to discontinue after the oral because the winds were 30 knots, gusting, whatever. And then I did the flight portion next day on the 3rd and passed. And now it's the 5th. I kind of just been waiting right now before I do my crew eval, because you basically do a cross country where you're in the right seat acting as a pilot monitoring, and then on the way back you swap, and now you're the pilot flying. After you pass that eval, then they'll send you on crew. And yeah, that's where I'm at. So they said I have to be ready for crew on the 7th, which is this Saturday. So I'm gonna be ready. I've been reading all my handbooks. I've been brushing up on all the procedures that I need to know, because it's kind of like the airlines. There's the FAA rules, and then there's ATP rules. You know what I mean? So you have to be knowledgeable on what ATP can allow you to do on crew. So yeah, that's the end of the video. This one was a little bit longer than the last one. I'm running on to like 18, 20 minutes, I think. But I hope this one really helped you understand what the program is like, at least for the instrument phase. And like I said, I passed my instrument check ride with no problems. I had a great instructor. I had great lead instructors. The simulator is phenomenal to work on your instrument skills, and I have nothing negative to say about the instrument phase at ATP. The only thing that did suck was the DPE weight, which was out of ATP's control and my control. So once again, thank you for watching the video. Please go give the other video a like and comment. Please like, comment this one, subscribe. I'm still blown away by how I went from 7 to 300 plus subscribers. And also go check out the Pro Pilot Podcast Playbook. They have some good stuff, some good information on the website, and I promise you, you will not regret it. Peace.